Welcome into week 2 of the Greg Colby Show. I'm Domenic Panza, and it's time to catch up with Millersville's head football coach. And Coach, it's certainly good to talk about a win, and a nice one at that. You guys started out fast. Talk about the importance about those 2 interceptions, and not only that, but turning them into 13 points.
Oh, that's always critical. We talked to our guys about keys to winning all the ball games that we play, and one of the very first ones we talk about are turnovers, and especially when you can turn them into points. So, that was a lot faster turnover than I expected, in the game. And it really, in some respects, I was a little worried about it because I didn't want our guys to let up and start thinking it was going to be a coach job. So, and they did. So it turned out really well for us, and it's nice to see us getting those kind of turnovers. We've done a pretty good job the last 2 weeks in that regard.
Lock Haven proved to be resilient. You went up by those 2 scores, but they seemed to keep it within that 1-score range. What do you attribute that to?
Well, a couple things. I think they're a better team than they have been in the past. I mentioned that last week, and they showed that to be the fact out there. They've got some older players. They've been around, so they're coached well coached. So and I think we're still not where we need to be. We still need to improve as a team and gel a little bit on both sides of the ball and in the kicking game. And we were a little bit better last week than we were the first week, and hopefully we'll be a little bit better this week, and hopefully that'll continue throughout the season. So I think it was a combination of things, but you got to give them credit. They came out ready to play.
So what did you say to the guys at the halftime speech? What did you tell them at halftime?
Well, all we do is go through adjustments, any corrections, anything new that we need to do in the second half based on what we saw in the first half. And, I talked to our guys early in the game about, the tempo, setting the tempo of the game, and talked to them again about that at halftime, and talked to them. This is going to be a 4-quarter game. We're not gonna put anybody away. We're going to have to be ready to play to the very last play of the game, and we need to go out with that mentality. So that's really what we focused on.
Talk about the set play. Of course, you line up Vado Pija as the tight end. He scores from 2 yards out. And then tell us a little bit about his reaction.
Well, we've been talking about using him on our goal line package since camp and worked him a little bit. And this past week we finally got enough work that we felt comfortable in putting him in there. And, I was kind of surprised Wednesday in practice when our offense was working on that play. I walked down and just happened to see him run the play and throw the ball to Donald. And I'm saying, wow, he caught that pretty well. It looked pretty good. And the tight ends coach walked up to me and started talking to me about him playing tight end, which I said no, because he's one of our better D linemen. But it, he showed some real skill there, and he's obviously a real physical player, and he's got some good quickness, and which is why he's in there. He's actually the fullback, and we've got him in there to be a lead blocker. But that's one of the more difficult plays to defend on the goal line, especially against a team that's expecting you to run the ball. So it's a great play to run. If you got a guy like Donald who can catch it and can slip out there, that just makes it that much more effective. So it's going to be a nice little weapon for us in the future.
It seemed like every time the team maybe got into a bit of a bind or Lock Haven seemed to get back some of the momentum, Bill Shirk stepped up. Jamal Smith was another big name. You had Mike Jones, who ran for 100 yards. The offensive line's starting to gel a little bit. The offense has looked really well. Talk about them in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think, again, I don't think we're where we need to be, but I think we played better this week. I think our offensive line came out and was a little bit more physical. We talked to them about that all week long, about how we needed to be more physical up front and finish blocks and get a better push off the line. And I believe they did that Saturday, as evidenced by the increased yardage in the run game. Mike Jones was a little bit more comfortable, I think, with what he's doing out there. And obviously he had one big play where I kind of kidded him. He got ran down by their DB, and I said, "You're supposed to be 4-3. What happened out there on you?" But it was nice to see him get some more yards. Nice to see us be able to run the ball a little bit better. We're still not where we need to be with that, but that helped us in the pass game too. And again, we protected Billy pretty well. He had to scramble a little bit, but as usual, he's able to find the open receiver for the most part and make some big plays out of it. And you put all those things together, and you're going to be a pretty effective offense.
It all added up to a 35-21 Millersville victory this past weekend. We'll be right back with more with the Greg Colby Show on MSBN at MillersvilleAthletics.com. And now it's time for the Marauder Pride Play of the Week. This week, it's Bill Shirk's 4th touchdown pass and Jamal Smith's 3rd touchdown catch. Play action, looking end zone. He has his man, touchdown Millersville. Jamal Smith, 3rd touchdown of the afternoon, and Millersville back up by 2 scores at the 7:03 marker. This has been your Marauder Pride Play of the Week. And welcome back. We're going to shift gears a little bit and talk about this upcoming Saturday game as Millersville welcomes Gannon, the Golden Knights, new to the conference a year ago, and they seem to be a pretty good team.
I tell you what, they're a real solid team. We just got finished watching their most recent game against Shippensburg this past Saturday, and that was an exciting game to watch. They're a veteran ball club. They've got some great athletes. They've got some great speed. Their offensive line, I've focused on the offensive side of the ball. Their offensive line is huge. They've got one young man at 6'9", 350. Blocks out the sun, and they got a running back who's quicker than a cat. So they got a lot of weapons. We're going to have our hands full this week.
Maybe no bigger weapon than their quarterback. Talk about him and stopping him defensively.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you stop him. I'm not sure you can stop him. I think you probably just try to slow him down or limit what he does. They try to put the ball in his hands. Obviously, he's got the ball on every play, and they take advantage of that, as well as throwing the ball, which he's a decent thrower, decent passer. He's a real threat when he pulls the ball down and goes. And they've got a lot of design runs to let him just run the ball, fake the pass, run the ball. Put him in a lot of different, positions that way. So, he's a guy that we've got to be able to corral and can't let him out in the open. Otherwise, he's going to hurt us.
Dating back to last year, this squad, Gannon, has the most wins in the conference. What do you look to do to break that streak?
Well, we've got to worry about how we play, and talk to our guys every week about it. That's the only thing we can control. Gannon's going to come in; they're going to play. We have to expect them to play as well as they can, and they're a real good football club. So, we've got to take every one day at a time and get a little bit better every day and improve in all our areas. We've got to be more consistent on the defensive side of the ball. We played better against the run last week. And we were a little bit better against it the first week as well. We've got to get a lot better this week. The pass game, I think, is going to be real critical for us on the defensive side of the ball because of the speed that they have in the field. We've got to limit where they're able to throw the ball and limit that quarterback and not let him get out and run it. Offensively, we've got to continue to improve running the ball so that we can control the clock. If we can keep our offense on the field and control the clock, obviously that keeps their offense off the field. So those areas. Then our kicking game, which hasn't given us the field position that we'd like it to give us in the last 2 weeks. We need that to start happening to put us in better field position throughout the game. So we're just going to focus on getting better in those areas and see what happens.
So let's talk about the offense then. I would imagine if you want to control the clock, then maybe you'll be running the ball a little bit. Mike Jones may touch it a bit, and then also Bill Shirk. He's been pretty efficient through the air, one of the top couple passers in the league so far. Yeah,
well, I don't want to give out any national secrets here today before the game starts, but, our basic philosophy is to run the ball first, pass the ball second, and combine the two and have a balance between the two. But if you can't run the ball, you're going to have a hard time in any ball game. So we're going to continue to work on that, and hopefully you will see the ball in Mike's hands more, as well as our other two running backs, Fatine Brown and Brandon Gunn, who have had time, and all three of them are real solid running backs for us. So, we've got some pretty good weapons on offense, and we just have to utilize them all as best we can.
Fatine, of course, got into the end zone last week. I'm sure he's feeling pretty good about that. How about the Gannon defense? They gave up some points against Shippensburg last week, so did you see anything that you liked that maybe you'd like to exploit?
Well, I think, again, our execution is going to be real important. They've got some good athletes on defense. They run well. Ship is a little bit different kind of offense, and they create some problems for people that other offenses don't do. So we're going to have to focus on those things we do well and execute it. And again, if we can get the ball down the field in the run game and loosen them up a little bit, that'll help us in the pass game.
Finally, Coach, what do you think is going to be the difference maker in this weekend against Gannon?
I think, we need to play our best game, all three phases. I think we're going to need a few breaks. I think, we're going to need them to come in and hopefully they'll be a little overconfident. And in my opinion, if we can get this game down into the fourth quarter, then we should have an advantage over most teams because our guys are in great shape and they've shown they know how to finish a football game.
Okay, my thanks to Coach Greg Colby, and we thank you for watching Week 2 of the Greg Colby Show at MillersvilleAthletics.com. For MSBN, I'm Domenic Panza. We'll talk to you soon.